I was ahead and then I was behind, and that always happens. I was like, oh, I can't go live this early, and then before I know it, it's already time to go live, and then I feel like I'm late. Okay, introductions. I always forget to introduce myself. My name is Evelyn. I am the maker, designer, whatever, behind Pink Sheep Design. Welcome to my channel. These are my Tuesday regularly scheduled lives. I go live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Time to talk about whatever we want to talk about. I kind of pick and choose as I go. I get feedback from you guys if there's things you want me to cover. I saw a great video by Pam Grice over at the Crochetpreneur, all about community over competition, and I love that topic because community is such a big deal for me, and it's something that I really strive to push. So I wanted to chat about that, and it's definitely a little bit of a different viewpoint. I want to talk about how to build those relationships and build that community. And I did pull a little bit from Pam's video because I feel like she did a really great introduction to what communities are, and why they're important. But I love too, if you are part of the crochet community, her video is really great on how to guard against negativity and being a part of a community. So the things to look out for. She talks a lot about how to make sure that you have a healthy experience being a part of the crochet community, or, you know, niches within that community, because that's really interesting too, is that there's the fiber community and the yarn artists, and then there's crocheters, but then there's all these different communities within the crochet community, including my own. It's, you know, a small subset of the crochet community. So I really wanted to talk about that today. I am going to be working on something new. I think I see, let's see, Ellen is here, Thorn is here, hello, and another cloudy day. By the way, saw your hook, awesome. We're super excited that the DIY hook submissions are starting to come in, and that's been super fun to get to see what everybody has been doing. I think we have 10 submissions so far, maybe, but super excited. Okay, so I am going to work on a project today. I don't make a lot of finished products. I think most of you guys, if you've been following me for a little while, you know that. And of course, my cat ran over here to see what was happening with the yarn on the floor. I am making a mini crossbody bag for my postmaster's niece, something like that. I don't know. She works at the post office and she always comments on my crocheted stuff, and I told her I really don't make a lot of finished items. You know, I make the patterns, but she said that her niece is 1 year old, 1 year old, and she would love to give her one of like a mini, because she started wearing things on her shoulder. So instead of just saying like, no, I don't do that, I don't make finished items, I have been trying to get through my stash. So you guys may have seen my newest video that I posted here on YouTube. I have started selling chunky scrap cake samplers, I guess is the best way to describe it. They are, you get 6 cakes, and let's see, I'll show you guys the size. I get 3 of them. I've got 2 to get out in the mail today. You get this size cake. It's probably anywhere from 30 to 50 yards, depending on the size. This one's closer to 50-ish grams. This is kind of like a velvet yarn. It's 100% acrylic, but this is one that I had that I don't have enough to really make a full project. I've got some Lion brand loops and threads, not Lion brand, loops and threads by Michael's Cozy Wool. This is a little one of Hometown USA, so this is on the smaller side. This one's in the 30 range of grams versus this one, which is closer to 60 grams, but they're all mixed in. You get 6 of them, and you can add a hook, but it's a great way if you don't try a lot of bulky yarn. I have a lot of people in my Facebook group who joined my Facebook group because they bought stickers from me. But they don't use bulky yarn. So this is a great way to like get an intro. You know, you can try out some of the different types of bulky yarn. You can make yourself a scrappy headband or some scrappy fingerless gloves, just to try out some of my patterns for the first time, because, you know, I have a couple of free patterns here on my YouTube channel. So I've been working on those. I'm destashing, and I thought today, you know, I've got a lot of this 3 and 4 weight yarn that I'm not going to use. So I grabbed my 10mm hook. I'm holding 3 strands of yarn together, and I'm going to make a little mini bag, and I'm going to bring it to the post office when I go today. And if she still wants one for her little niece, I think it's her niece, I don't know, granddaughter, niece, something like that. I'm going to see if she just wants to pay cash for this little bag, and it'll give me something to work on, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. Okay, so hello everyone. One more time. Hello, hello. We've got a few more people on now. Let's see. Tracy is here. Dawn is here. Hello. Okay, so I do have some notes, so that'll make it easier for me to chat. But I would love to know if you're listening and you have the ability to type. I would love for you to let me know how you feel overall about the crochet community. Have you felt like you've had a good experience? Has it been hit or miss? Because again, there are a lot of different sub-communities within the crochet community. Do you feel like you found communities that you love? Have you had any, you know, not so great experiences and it's just taken finding the right place to land? I would love to know how you feel about being a part of the community. And I would also love to know if you struggle at all with this idea of community over competition. Do you have the competition bug? Do you feel like it's difficult for you to not feel overwhelmed by this idea of competing with a lot of other people who are a part of the fiber community? So I'll give you guys a minute to respond. Because again, I feel like I just talk. So I'm trying to give time for you guys to interact and not feel like that was really great. I think Thorn, I think it was you who said that sometimes you feel like you don't want to interrupt the speaker. And I'm like, you're not actually interrupting me because you're not talking back, but I want to give people time to respond. So how has your experience been being a part of the crochet community? See, I'm like holding my hook all weird, holding it by the top. And if you struggle with competition, is that something that's difficult for you being in this community? Because people are making a lot of crazy cool stuff. I think for me, sometimes I get a little like, is my stuff's not cool enough, you know, because people make these crazy mosaic crochet things and color work and, you know, details and little bitty yarn. And I'm like, I'm just over here with my one color chunky yarn making basic patterns. I mean, I love it, but sometimes it is like, man, I wish I wanted to do that. Because that's the thing, I don't want to. I have no desire to do it. But you know, sometimes it's like, oh, I wish I had the desire to like sit down and make something like crazy detailed and, you know, share have you guys seen is it Jennifer Borchert? I don't know how to say it, but is she the one who made the Stranger Things hat, the skull cap with the eyes? So cool. I don't make stuff like that. But that's the mindset that we're going to talk about, is being willing to, instead of saying, man, I wish my stuff was like that, instead being like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm going to share this, like, community. This is so cool. So yeah, that's where I stand. Okay, so let's check the comments. Thorn, it was you. Good. I figured. I thought it was you, because that was really, I was like, oh, I think about, that's a thinker. I like that. Another cloudy day. Everyone is very friendly and passionate about yarn. I find a lot of inspiration and no negativity. I stick with a few channels. That's important. That are supportive and involving. Yes. Ellen says, some days the crochet community is a bit too political. It can happen. Definitely. No matter who we are, we should be able to be here and enjoy our craft. That's why I love being a part of your tester community. Yay! Thank you. Thorn says, I love the community, especially the Alt Not School Squad. Feels like family to me. And I think we're really hitting on something here. And I have to crochet something. A huge part of this is finding the right communities for you. So if you're looking at it from the idea, from the side of someone being a part of the communities versus someone like me who's trying to build my own community, there's definitely a different viewpoint. But I think for anyone who's not looking to build their own community, but you're looking to be a part of the crochet community, it really is finding the sub communities that are right for you, that make you feel comfortable, that make you feel like you're, a really supported part of the community. And that's actually a good segue into what Pam said in her video when she was talking about kind of the intro. So let me go through these first. Kim should jump back and forth. Squirrel. And Tracy said she agrees with Ellen. Crafty Heart, most of the community is great. Yep, there are a few people / groups that like to make it cliquey and get together to criticize and gossip. And I have stayed as far away from that world as possible. I was not popular in high school. And so the idea of like cliquey high school-esque groups, not my thing. I wouldn't go back to high school if someone paid me like all the money in the world. Not a good experience. So that whole idea, I definitely need to find the spaces that are positive and engaging and supportive and just like that. Okay, so Thorn says, sometimes I feel self-conscious about having no interest in simple or beginner-friendly patterns if that makes you feel better. Yes, and we all have these different, the way that we approach our craft is always going to be different. And that's what makes it special. There are so many different ways to approach being a part of the fiber world. And I think that is extremely, extremely important to remember when you're thinking about this whole idea of community versus competition. I always reference the cereal aisle. If you're walking down the cereal aisle in the grocery store, there's like 1 million boxes of cereal and people are buying all of them, even me. I mean, I buy a whole bunch of different cereals and it's fine. There's room for all of them to thrive and succeed. And some people want sugar, some people don't want sugar. Some people want fiber, some people don't want fiber. Some people want brand names, some people want the store brand, so I mean, it just there's plenty of room for all of us. Just be like cereal. Let's see. And Thorn says, as a designer, yes, and that's in both ways. People who are not designers, people who are designers, we're all approaching our businesses and our crafts in different ways, and I think that's what's so important and makes it so special. Crafty Heart, yes, that's the key, the correct community, yes. And Tracy says, I do that to stay away. Ellen, you do a great job staying away from the negative. That's the goal. Thorn, in terms of cereal related metaphor, I want people to think of my brand as a goth Lucky Charms. Yes. Do they not make that? They don't make, I feel like I saw a new Lucky Charms the last time it was there. I scope out the cereal aisle and sometimes they get me with, I think I bought like some Star Wars cereal once and my husband made so much fun of me because he's like, you just paid like triple for that box of cereal and you're not going to keep the box. But it was so cute. Okay, so let's segue into, I'm going to talk a little bit about what Pam said at the beginning of her video. And go check out her video. Pam is fantastic. If you're building a business with your crochet makes, knitting makes, any of your makes, she has some of the best advice when it comes to really, really, really focusing in on your business. So check her out. I don't want anyone to ever feel like I'm stealing Pam's thunder. I just feel like sometimes I have to find good topics, and she has really good topics. So I'm taking my own spin on this one, but I do want to talk a little bit about the beginning stuff that she talked about because she has her background as a psychotherapist, and I love that insight. My background was in psychology. My undergrad was in psychology, and so I feel like this. I love that that she approaches it from that perspective. So she talked about, in order for people to want to be a part of a community, there must be shared trust, shared belonging, shared safety, shared significance, and shared acceptance. So 5 things. And she did say that the belonging and the trust are very related to the acceptance piece. So I think she originally had 4, and she added on acceptance, but said that was part of those first 2. And I think that's extremely important. And it's from both angles. So in her video, she talked about, this is what you need to look for to be a part of a community where you feel like you're going to belong and have a good experience. And for me, those are the things that I am striving to create. So I need to create these feelings of trust and acceptance and belonging. And that's what I strive for every day. So that's something for me. Anyone's welcome in my community. Now, I do try to make sure that people understand this is a positive space. I don't ever have to say that, luckily, so far. And I think it just comes across as, if you follow me, you know that what I put out into the world is usually radiating with positivity. I try. So when people join my community, I feel like they kind of know what they're going to get. And I therefore don't have to monitor and always be like, okay, guys, play nice, be kind, be sweet. Everybody is very sweet and kind and nice. And in the communities so far that I've created, which right now, I would say my main communities, true communities where I can really interact one-on-one and have good conversations, would be my Discord channel for my testers and my Facebook group, Pink Sheep Design Facebook group. Now there is still a community on Instagram. It's just not as hyper-focused. So I have lots of conversations on Instagram. That is the place where I usually spend a lot of my time. Same with YouTube. We have conversations in our chats. I'm not as active in like the YouTube community as I would like to be. A lot of that comes down to time. And we'll talk about that later. But Pam made a statement that when people don't feel important, seen, safe, or like they can trust the community, then they can feel neglected. And that's what you don't want. You, as being part of a community, or if you are trying to build a community, you don't want anyone to feel neglected or left out, or even, Pam said, sometimes abused. You can feel like you're being abused if you're in a community where you don't feel safe or important or seen or any of that. And I have left crochet groups not because I felt neglected, but just because after being a part of the crochet group, I didn't really want to be active in the group. And I feel like that can happen where, you can be a part of a group and you realize usually pretty quickly, this isn't the group for me. And I feel like that's pretty normal to feel that way. Because not every single group is going to be for you. And I talk about that with just like customers in general. If you are, if you're trying to build a business, not every customer is going to be the right customer for you. So not every community is going to be the right community for you. And when you're building a community, not everyone who tries to join your community may be right for the community. That can happen. Now, again, luckily, I feel very confident, knock on wood, that I have not had to like kick anyone out of any of my groups for any kind of drama or negativity. And so my hope is that that's going to continue to be my goal, is to foster a community where people, really do enjoy being a part of it. And, don't feel like, oh, this is not the place for me, which I know could still happen. But that's definitely my goal. So let's see, I wanted to get through my notes, and then we can kind of go back through and chat. We talked about how the fiber art and the crochet community is very big. I mean, it's a gigantic community, I think. I mean, there's tons of people that crochet and knit. Pam made the comment that not everybody wants to be part of a community, so they may crochet and knit and not actually have any desire to be part of a community, which is fine. And let's see, what I took from that is every community matters. Just like there's room for all the different cereals, there is room for all the little communities. And my community started very small. I mean, when I started my Facebook group, it was supposed to be a tester Facebook group, but that just crash bombed. It was awful. Um, I wasn't present on it for that. I didn't want my testers spread out. I wanted everyone in the same place because I did not have time to be checking all of these different places to see who had questions. So I moved over to Discord, and it was actually Ginger and Kim of the Yarn Geek. No, affordably geeky. That's the two of them together on their lives every Saturday, if they're still going live on Saturdays. Who said just make it a Pink Sheep Facebook group, because I was like, what's the point? Nobody's going to want to join. And let me check, because I think now we are at, if you hear my husband, he's mowing the lawn. If you hear the lawnmower, I don't know if you can hear that on here. Okay, let's go to my communities groups. We are at 648 members in the Facebook group. This hasn't been live for, I mean, maybe a year. It's just been open as a Pink Sheep Facebook group. And so I feel like it matters. You know, if you start a community because you want to find people that you can truly connect with, you care, you have an emotional connection with the people who are in your community, you're going to be active in the community. So for me, I post in my Facebook group. You know, I know that there are Facebook groups out there where the admin's maybe not as active, or the person who started the group is not active in the group. I feel like sometimes that can happen with much bigger designers. If they've got a lot of other stuff going on, they may have this group, but it kind of runs itself. I like to be active in that group. And I feel like, to me, that matters. My community matters, because someone may not be able to find another community where they feel comfortable. And what did we say? Where they feel important, seen, safe, and like they can trust the other people in the community. So that is definitely a goal of mine, is to remember that it doesn't matter how small your community starts out. You could have 5 people in there, but if you have really great conversations with those 5 people, and those 5 people want to support you and be a part of your life and a part of your brand, if you're trying to build a brand or build a community, then those 5 people matter a whole heck of a lot more than you just trying to, you know, be a part of a larger community where maybe you don't feel important, seen, safe, and like you can trust the other members in the community. So I think that's what I took away from that is, you know, even when you're first starting out, it's really easy to feel like this is not possible. I'm not going to be able to just build a community around my brand. Who am I to think that that's something that I can do? That's that imposter syndrome coming in of, you know, I don't have a published book of patterns. I haven't worked with Lion Brand to have kits on the website. You know, there's these milestones that we put in our own head of like, these are the goals to be this great successful designer, and you know, we put that on ourselves. And I think like being able to try to shake that off and say, it doesn't matter what I've done or haven't done, I want to do this. And so I'm going to start a Facebook group, and I'm going to be active in it, and I'm going to talk to these people. And that's what matters. That's what matters. Not how big it is, not how successful your business is, or what those parameters are, or what you see as being successful. What matters is that you want to do it, that you have a true desire to create a community, that you have a true desire to be active in that community, to create real relationships with people. That's what matters. And I feel like that if you are creating a community around your customers, because that's something I still hate to see other creators and makers as my customers or even clients. It just feels like a weird way to say that, but they are. I mean, these are my supporters. Supporters definitely feels more my speed and stuff like that as my customers, you know. But creating a community around my supporters, you know, if you're trying to do that, it is important to be active and engaged and care, because these people are spending their money to support you and to buy things that you've created. And so I think that's why, to me, it matters so much. I wouldn't want to try to create communities that I'm not going to be a part of, if that makes sense. Okay, I know I took a few more pages of notes, so let's see. So when it comes to the competition side, this was interesting, and this was what I really wanted to see what Pam's thoughts were psychologically, all of that on this idea of competition and community and how that works. And she said that once competition enters a community, it can put that community at risk, and it is up to the members of the community to combat this and to protect the community. That was really interesting to me, because for me, as someone who is trying to build a successful community where people, feel like they can belong and feel supported and that we can cheer each other on. For me, I thought it was my job. Like you feel like when you start a community, like I'm the moderator, I'm going to have to deal with all of this. But I think it's really interesting that she puts it that way, because I've heard, and I've seen this happen before, where if a loved brand goes through a scandal. So let's say there's a crochet brand. This has not happened to me. This has not happened to anyone. This is purely hypothetical that I know of. It may have happened. I don't know. But if a crochet brand, so let's say they're a designer, let's say, maybe they make labels or something. So maybe they make patterns and labels, something. So they've got a lot of followers, a lot of crochet followers. Maybe there's some kind of scandal that happens where, I don't know, maybe they send a negative message, I don't know, they're having a bad day. Maybe they really are good-hearted people. They've got a huge following. People love them. They're someone that people feel that people trust them, like them, know them, all of these important things for people to have, true followers. But something happens, that's life right now. It's the internet. It's difficult for you to escape any kind of scandal, because we all have, and I say scandal, but in a better word that's not scandal, like what's below a scandal, where it's just, something happens and people go after them. There's a group of people that decide this is no longer someone that I agree with or like, so I'm going to attack them. What I think is very interesting, and they've shown that this is what happens, that usually if there are enough people who say, no, that's not who this person is, like, I don't know if they were having a bad day, I don't know, you don't know this person, we've been following them for years, I have a true connection with them. The followers are going to be the ones who come on and protect the brand, protect the person. And I think that's extremely interesting that I made that connection when she was talking about how with communities, it's the members. It's not the people who made the community. It's the members who feel like this is a place where they belong and a place where they, can connect and feel safe. And what were the things they feel important, seen, and safe, and like they can trust each other, that they're the ones who have to jump on and say, we're not gonna do this here. That's not what this is for. And to me, that's the key to a successful community in my head. Like if I had to measure success in my own community, it would be the members feeling that connected, that they jump on board and say, no, that's not what this is for. We're not gonna argue about it. This is not why we're here. And I think that's really interesting, and even with the competition piece of like, we're not going to bash each other over something like, and Pam put it interesting too, that a lot of the competition side comes from our own kind of fears and shortfalls, I guess. So again, it goes back to this whole idea of someone posts something super intricate and beautiful, instead of me saying, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Like, I wish I had the patience to do that, but go you. Instead, if I were to allow kind of that fear and shortcoming to make me look at it negatively, I might say, ugh, man, I hate that she's doing so well, and I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get the attention off of her and put it on me, and so I'm gonna need to do this, or maybe I should just make a snarky comment instead of a nice comment. But like, we have to catch ourselves, because I think we all get in that situation where maybe we allow those negative thoughts to come through, and that's something that can really be a downfall if you're a part of a community. Yes, and I know I've missed some comments, so let's go back through the comments before I keep chatting because we're halfway through. And Lauren says the husband sparks joy. The husband does spark joy. Tell the husband the cereal sparks joy, and I did. I needed that cereal. That was important. That was an important purchase. And another cloudy day, make the Star Wars cereal box into an altered scrapbook. That's true. I wish I still had time for that kind of stuff. I used to scrapbook all the time. Now I'm like, I wish I had time to print these pictures and stick them in the little slots so that I would have just an album, and I don't even do that now. So maybe one day. I have so many pictures now that I want to print that it's expensive when I'm like, maybe I should try to print this. Okay, let's see. Emma says, hi everyone, I made it. Did I miss anything? No, we're just talking about community, and I'm working on a bag, which I haven't gotten very far. So I really need to get on that. So let me go ahead and actually turn and start working on this next row while I go through these comments. Tracy, I so enjoy it here. I'm so glad. And Thorn, I just missed it. Right here on time, Emma. Yes. Let's see. That feels weird to me too. Yeah, I don't really like that word. It was different when I was making crochet pieces and selling them at like craft shows. Like those were my customers. But I think now I have such an emotional connection to so many of my repeat customers that it's like, they're my supporters. You know, it definitely feels more of like, I don't know why there's that connotation of, I don't know. I just don't want I don't want anyone to feel like they're just a customer. I think that's why, because they're not. You know, it's so much more meaningful now, especially choosing to try to do this full time, doing this full time. I'm not trying. We're doing it, but doing this full time, and people are truly supporting us to do something that we love, and that we get to be together here working on things together. It feels even more meaningful than when it was just kind of a side hustle of, if people buy stuff, great. If not, now it's, if people don't buy stuff, we got bills to pay. So so it's just continuing to create those relationships, because I don't want people to feel like it's for nothing. I want people to understand how important it is and how special they are to us, to be supporting us in this way. Emma says, we band together as a community. Yes. Tracy says that's how it's supposed to be. I agree. Kathleen, hello. Hi from Norfolk, Virginia. Hello. Emma says, all for one and one for all. Yes. Winter is here. I'm late, but hi. Tracy, yes. Emma, Thorn, hi, Winter. Everybody's saying hello. Ellen, hi, Winter, and anyone I missed. Traveling and good connection aren't working for me today. Yeah, I totally understand that. I've had a good connection so far, but it went out last night, so you never know. Thorn says, I think customers has the baggage of sounding like you're just using someone to extract value, especially in the context of current capitalism. Yes. And obviously we don't want to just use our supporters. Exactly. And I think that's why like I said, I just don't want anyone to feel like they're just a customer. That's my goal, is I want to try and give back and provide value where I can, so that nobody feels like, I just expect you to, buy my things, and that's the end of that. I hope you come back for more. I want to try to, and community is a part of that. So when someone purchases something from me on Etsy, it may just be a sticker, one sticker. I'm going to write a handwritten note, say thank you, and I'm going to invite them to join the community. And hopefully maybe that adds even more value to the sticker that they purchased. Because part of me is like, man, I mean, my stickers cost more than $5. And I think they're between $5 and $6, something like that. And I mean, that's a lot for a sticker. It's, it's still higher for me to buy them than I would like to have it be, because I can't order 1,000 stickers at a time. But people are spending a lot of money to buy a sticker, you know? So I like to think that outside of the value that the sticker will provide, is there something else that I can do, you know, to provide value to those people and to provide, you know, community. And again, thinking back on the fact that not every community is for everybody. Not everyone that I reach out to on Etsy is going to want to join my Facebook group. And there are some people who might join my Facebook group and say, this is not for me. And that's okay. That's okay if my community is not for everybody, because it's probably not. I might be a little too cheery and bright, or, you know, maybe people don't want to see chunky yarn all the time, and that's what you're going to see when you join my community. Okay, we got some more. Let's see. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to buy. Ellen, notes pink sheep design notes are the best. I'm so glad you think so. I have gone back and forth. I feel like if I start getting too many sticker orders, I have thought about getting these printed notes where I'd still get to handwrite in their name and my name and my smiley face, but it would have like what I usually write. Because it's definitely time consuming. It's one of those things where I have to think, you know, should I be spending 3 hours on a Sunday night handwriting notes? I haven't done it yet. It's just kind of there, but I don't know. That's a tough one. That would be a really tough sell for me to stop doing the completely 100% handwritten notes in every order. I think would be tough for me, but it's something I have to think about as I get busier, and as I think, you know, there are things that need to get done, and should this be where I, you know, put my time? But that's hard. That's really hard. It's good. It's good to know that I'm, you know, staying busy and having to think about these things and think about prioritizing. But I like my notes, so we'll see. Emma, another crochet artist I follow, has the same values as yourself. Her name is Maya Luna Corazon. I've heard of her. I don't know if I follow her. I need to go check her out. I have some of her patterns saved for a roundup that I'm going to do. Let's see. Today she's giving back to her community, and she's a very positive individual. Yes. Winter, I love how you package your orders. They are awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thorn's going to go follow them. So yes. And that is how you promote community. So, and I need to talk about that, because now we got 20 minutes left. So let's talk about how to start this building of community and taking the focus off of competition and putting it back onto community. Amaris is here. I'm listening, not being active in a not so inspiration mood, but I'm following the conversation. And Tracy, I never knew what to do with chunky yarn until I saw you on Affordably Geeky, and I got some and loved it. Yay! Chunky sad, chunky sad. Even this, I've got 3 strands and a 10 millimeter for this little, and this is probably, it might be a little too big of a little purse, but we'll see. It's supposed to be for a 1-year-old, but I don't have a 1-year-old, so I don't know how big they are, but maybe she can carry it for a while. Okay, so how to start creating a community. This is just the bullet points. Let's see. The first thing that you can start doing if you are a maker and you want to be a part of the crochet community, and this is making anything, designing, whatever, is tagging people and giving credit where it's due. This was something that Pam talked about as well. I think this is big, not just because it's a nice thing to do, to give credit. You know, if you found a pattern that you love that has made craft shows easier for you because you can, you know, create all of these things quickly and it's a good seller, you have to think too, like, that person put the effort into the design and helped you to make your life a little bit easier. So it is the kind thing to do to tag them. But for me, what I immediately go to is that thought of community. You're building a community. You are getting on that person's radar. Now, they're not always going to follow you back, or even, you know, some people may not even notice that you tagged them. But if you're buying from a smaller designer, they probably will. And not only that, they'll probably share your photo. So then that community wheel starts to really turn, and it's that engagement. So you tagged them, they shared your post, someone else saw their post and maybe went to go check your stuff out and followed you, and then the community is building on itself. So that's why I think that's one of the first things you can start doing, is get yourself on a social media platform if that's where you want to be. It doesn't have to be Instagram, and maybe TikTok. If you're a TikTok person, get yourself on TikTok, get yourself on Instagram, start yourself a Facebook group. Not a huge fan of Facebook pages. I do tag people on Facebook pages. I tag people on YouTube when I can. I do feel like Instagram and TikTok are some really great places for you to start creating that wheel turning community feel. But start sharing your makes. And that's something, if you aren't sharing your makes anywhere, I think you should. So if you just have a personal Instagram account where sometimes you share crochet, start yourself a crochet Instagram, or turn it into a crochet Instagram if it's not very active already. Start sharing your stuff, get yourself out there, be a part of the community. You know, let's get that going. And you can start following the friends that you found in my community or other communities that you're in. You can start tagging them, buying patterns from them, trying their free patterns in their blog, tagging them in that, sharing the link to their blog. Hey, this is a free pattern, I'm gonna stick it in my bio and you can go check out this person's pattern. If you're not a pattern designer, start doing that. Share some really cool patterns that you've made to start, building that sense of community, even if you're not a designer. So that leads me to sharing other people's stuff and referring them. And that was something, again, some of these were exactly what Pam said. She talked about sharing and referring, and this is huge. So if you, let's say, so for me, something that I do, we do our mystery boxes. We're already planning out our Halloween mystery boxes. Our first Halloween mystery box was all our stuff. We printed a buttload of stuff on the 3D printers for those boxes. But I knew that if these were a hit, I wanted to collaborate. I wanted to find people that were making things that I was not making and bring them in on these boxes and share their goodies with my followers. So I had to think, like, what are things that I don't make? Pom-poms. People make pom-poms and they sell them, and that is part of their livelihood. There's people that make tags for hats. I don't make those. We could. My husband's always like, we could make that. Let's buy this and make these too. And I'm like, yeah, but we've already got all this other stuff that we're trying to make. So instead of trying to make all these things, let me find other people and let me support them and let me put their stuff out there. So if you have a go-to person for your pom-poms, if you have a go-to person for your tags, a go-to person for your stitch markers, a go-to person for your hooks, share that. And not just if you're an affiliate, share it just because it's good to share. And that's how to build that community. And it's not just to give back to others. There's a good feeling that you get when you decide to give more than you take. So if you have the opportunity to share, something that you bought and tag that person, you have to know, like, that energy that you give off when you do something that's kind and nice, and even if they don't notice, I know it makes me feel good, even if they don't notice. And I've had people who don't notice till like a year later. They're like, can't believe I didn't see that you tagged me in this or you posted this, because we're all busy, so you also have to remember that if you start tagging people, even small creators, and they don't say anything or don't even really, it doesn't look like they've noticed that you tagged them and you put that effort in, just think, like, we've all got lives. They may have kids, they may have events, they may have vacations. Like, you don't know what they're doing. It doesn't mean that they don't care that you did it. It does matter. It does matter. And it matters because it's a part of that. What's that movie? What is that movie? What's it? The Greater Good. The Greater Good. That's the, what is that one? It's the British guys in that one where he's the policeman. If you guys know it, just let me know. But It's for the greater good. And having that outlook and kindness and positivity, you know, to be a part of that community and to keep it growing and strong. Okay, let's see. So giving credit where it's due, and sharing other people's stuff and referring to other people. If you find a really good maker and you love their stuff and they're easy to work with, share them, refer people. Let's see. So if you're a blog writer, or if you could do this on Instagram too. I love doing roundups. This is a really great way for me. If I get that comparison bug. So for me, it's not really competition. It's more comparison. So I'm like, oh, someone made something really cool and I don't have anything like that, you know. Instead of allowing myself to feel negative and to get into that negative mindset, instead I say, I'm going to feature their pattern. It immediately keeps me from even allowing myself to think negative thoughts, to get jealous or any of those. I'm like, no, they're going in my next pattern roundup. So I'll go through and find really cool patterns. I do try to feature some of my own patterns. So I try to find a category where I can at least share one of my own patterns in the category. But I love going through and finding, you know, really cool patterns and doing these pattern roundups on my blog where I get to feature these other designers. I can tag them on Instagram. I can collaborate with them. You know, sometimes that opens the door for me to start messaging them, and maybe they'll come on Pink Sheep and Friends and we can have a good chat and I can get to know them as a person, because we know people based on their profile pictures, and, you know, we don't know them, you know, unless they're a really open person on Instagram and we've been following them for a while. I may know nothing about who that person is. I may know about their designs, what fiber types they use, what colors they go for, what style they design for and crochet, but I don't know who they are. So like, we have to break down that barrier and find a way to get to know people if we really want to have that sense of community. Because if we don't know who these people are that we're following, you're never going to have that emotional connection with that person. So that's a great way to do both. You're able to share other people's stuff and you're able to credit and tag people if you do something like a roundup. And I did the same thing with Pink Sheep and Friends. So that was a great way, not only for me to bring on people that I've already had conversations with and I've already gotten to know, but to say, man, that person has a lot of followers. I don't know how they're doing it. And you know, you'll have that like, oh, I wish I had that many followers, or I wish I had that much engagement, or I wish people were that, you know, commenting that much on my posts. And I had this conversation, interestingly enough, with Coco Crochet Lee. I don't know if you guys follow her. She's pushing 100,000 followers on Instagram. And it's interesting because she said it never goes away. There's always that next level. There's always that, like, I wish I had 110, or I wish, you know, I had more people were commenting on my posts. And because there was a while where I started feeling like, I don't need to tell people that I wish I had more followers, because like, there's people where I was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when I only had 1,000 followers or so. And, you know, I don't want people to feel like it's like I'm greedy, you know, but it's more about that not feeling good enough. It doesn't matter what level you reach. You've always got that feeling of uncertainty of like, when's it just going to all come crashing down, you know, which is all just that negative mindset that tends to kind of creep up. But what was interesting is I would find myself putting these accounts on a pedestal. Even Coco Crochet Lee, the first time I reached out to her, I said, there's no way this girl is going to message me back. Like, there's no way, just little old me, you know, because that's how we see ourselves. And I'm like, she's got, at that point, probably had double or triple the followers as me. But I did it anyway, and I reached out anyway. And it turns out she is like one of the sweetest and most approachable people. And like, she always answers my messages, and she's just so kind. And I wouldn't have known that from just looking at her videos, or, you know, I mean, unless I really, really dug down and like totally Instagram stalked her and read all of her posts, maybe I would get that vibe. But we don't know these people. And so I think that's why Pink Sheep and Friends was such a big deal, because it's given me a reason to say, like, oh, as soon as that bug crawls in my ear and says, yeah, that person's not going to respond, like they are way up here on the success scale, or way up here doing this, or, you know, maybe their vibe is totally different from yours. Why would they want to talk to you? Then I say, you know what? Hush your mouth, little bug. I'm going to go send them a message and invite them to be on my show. And that shuts it down, because then the message is out there. You know, either they're going to say, no, I don't have time, or I'm not interested, or they're going to be like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it, you know? So I think it's important to just tell that little bug, competition, anxiety bug, shut your mouth, shut your mouth, and just go for it. Put yourself out there. You know, the worst thing that can happen is that person says no, and you message someone else. And that's what I've started doing. But that's been a fantastic way for me to grow my community and get to know people that maybe from their profile, I would think we don't have a lot in common besides crochet. But you don't know that. There have been people where I'm like, me and this person are, what are we even going to talk about? And then it turns out that we're living like parallel lives and doing very similar things, or having very similar interests outside of crochet. So I think that's where the true community sense is going to come in, when you actually create those real relationships. You actually talk to people, have conversations with them. I think my dog is coming up the stairs. Get back down those stairs. Go get in that bed. I can't tell. He's been deciding he wants to just come up the stairs whenever he wants to, instead of staying in the basement where he's supposed to be with his bed and his bone. Okay, so he may come in here, but that's okay. Okay, I don't want to miss anything. I've got a few minutes left. Building real relationships, sharing other people's stuff, referring other people to them, giving credit where it's due, tagging people even if you don't feel like you have to. Let's see. Okay, so this is important too. This is the last thing that I'm gonna, well, let's see, two more things. One of them, and I talk about this a lot, so I'm not going to go into it really deep, but just being yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself, because when you be yourself, you attract the people that want to be in your community and follow you for the right reasons, because it's you. They're following you for you. So be who you are. Focus on being authentic, and you're going to attract the people that want to be around you for the right reasons, and are going to want to interact with you and support you for the right reasons. So if you're wanting to build a community, that's one place you really need to start, is being authentic and being you, putting yourself out there, getting over that fear, and just being yourself. That's a huge part of building an authentic community. The last thing is, keep the communication a two-way street. I feel like I'm doing little dances when I do this. Invite feedback. Listen, take feedback from people to heart. If they're not just being mean, like, this is when you have real relationships with people, those are the people you want to ask for feedback from. So I have a wonderful test group and Facebook group. These are kind of my true, like, community style communities. And those are people where I can put something out there and be like, do you guys even like this? Is this even interesting? Is this even something worth my time, and effort? Which design do you like better? I want feedback, because these are the people who are supporting me. So I want their opinions. And that allows people to feel heard, and to feel seen, and to feel appreciated, and like their opinions matter. All of that is important. So keep that communication open. Make sure you're listening to the people in your group. Make sure you're asking those questions. And that goes back to being present. I wouldn't have started a Facebook group if I didn't want to be active in it. Because then people may still get something out of that. If your community is large enough and people are all chatting with each other and they're keeping the community going, and you don't have to be active, that can be successful. But it's not the route that I would take if you're just starting out. It's not the route that I would take for me. I want to be active there. I want people to feel like they're joining the Pink Sheep Facebook group. So where's the pink sheep? So I want to make sure that I'm there and that I'm having these conversations, that I can do some fun polls, we can play games. It's not just, and that's the other thing. If you're starting a community, you don't want to start a community just to sell your stuff. You don't want to start a community just to post about, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this. You want to think of other ways to make it fun and add value and enjoy just having these people in the community. And like, what do you want to talk about? Like, ask some fun, silly questions, make sure that they have a chance to introduce themselves, do welcome posts. Facebook makes it really easy to do welcome posts. I need to do that more. That's, yeah. So, it's just being active and being involved and being engaged and having those conversations, keeping the communication open. That's the way to keep a community thriving and growing, and allow people to feel like they're a part of something that's special and important and fun, and not negative. That's the big thing, is to stay away from feeling negative. I did make a note of, if you aren't sure where to start by being active in other communities. So if you're wanting to build a community that's yours, where you can find very specific people with specific interests and outlooks, and you want to bring them together, but you aren't sure where to start, join some Facebook groups. I was really, really active in Dark Humor and Yarn, which is a Facebook group. And I'm not as active now. I do still post in there from time to time, but it's because I started my own community. When I was really active in Dark Humor and Yarn, I didn't have a Facebook group that was just for Pink Sheep. So I started out just seeing what it was like to be active in a community, to comment on other people's posts, to be recognized in the community. So there were people who, when I posted, they knew who I was. They knew who that person is. They recognized me either from Instagram. Like, I became a recognizable brand in the eyes of some, which was like, okay, this is great. And I could do this for my own community. So finding communities where you feel comfortable, where you enjoy being a part of the community, be active in those communities. And that's great practice for you to see how that works and what it's like to be active in the community before you actually jump out and try to create your own community. So giving back, showing up, talking, commenting on people's stuff, not because they're asking a question of where can I find a pattern and you can share your pattern and hopefully get a sale. Commenting on things just to say, like, wow, that is an amazing piece that you're working on. And I can't imagine, the time and effort you've put into that. That's beautiful. It's not something that's going to immediately benefit you. You're not sharing something that's going to lead to some kind of financial sale. You're doing it because it's nice. And, I don't know if you guys have ever posted something in a Facebook group or posted something on Instagram and it's crickets and nobody says anything. It's not a very good feeling. So if you have the time to be active in a community and, someone shares something and there's no comments, pop a little comment on there. You probably just made their day, to have someone just say, wow, that's really pretty. You did a really good job. We should all be lifting each other up and being supportive of each other and caring about each other. And that's how we keep the fiber community and the crochet community strong and growing and thriving and loving, and being open and accepting, is creating real relationships, having real conversations, creating truly supportive communities. And if you don't create the community, being a supportive and positive part of other communities. So if you are in my community, if you're in Alt Knots, Kayla's Ghoul Squad, like, being active and a positive part of that community is going to not only make that community more successful for other people, you're going to enjoy it more. So I don't want to keep you guys here too long after, because I've been staying on too long the last couple of videos, but I will say, as long as, let me see if Kayla has responded. I am scheduled to go live with Kayla of Alt Knots. I know she came up a few times. we are scheduled to go live together on Instagram this Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time, for Pink Sheep and Friends. Kayla joined me for a Pink Sheep and Friends chat on my YouTube channel here before I moved, so last year. And I'm so excited to have her back because we're going to chat about what she's been up to, what she's doing, what she's planning this year for Halloween. I'm super excited. So as long as she doesn't cancel, which I don't see why she would. We plan this out ahead of time. I'm just waiting for a confirmation, and I'm going to be posting about it tomorrow on Instagram. I may get the live scheduled. So if you go to my Instagram feed, on the main feed, there should be a little scheduled thing that you can click on and you can get a reminder. Emma says Kayla's been up to a lot. I'm sure, especially in a year. I mean, we haven't talked in forever, so I'm really excited to have her on. So if you guys want to join in, you can this Friday on my Instagram feed. And keep in mind, if you don't have Instagram, all of my maker chats, my Pink Sheep and Friends Friday chats that I have where I bring people on, those are all stored on YouTube as well on a playlist just for Pink Sheep and Friends. So if you want to go check out some fun interviews and get to know some other people and find some new people to add to your community, you can check those out. They're great for binge watching. If you need something to listen to while you crochet, you can check those out. Oh, and I don't have to do that. I have my comments are over here. So let's go through the last of the comments before I say goodbye. Everyone's saying hey to everyone in the chat. Crafty Hearts is great topic. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Let's see. I've had my IG for just over a year, still trying to figure it all out. I love it though. The yarn crochet knit community is so inspiring and inclusive. That's so good to hear. Mama Mima's house. Thanks for joining. Jeannie, aka Proverbs 31 Yarn. Hello. It's time for yarn. Joined in too. Hello, hello. Sindra was here. I have to watch the replay. Hate it when other work managers interfere with lurking. Yes. Well, you can rewatch anytime. Winter, it's true. It makes me so happy when people comment on my stuff. Yep. Tracy said, don't forget the thumbs up. Thank you, Tracy. Ed, simple, sincere. Hello, Ed. Simple, sincere comments make a huge impact on people. Yes. Tracy says, hey, Ed. Emma, Kayla, I saw that Kayla's been up to a lot. Kathy, I don't know where Kayla gets all her energy. I know. And she's on a totally different schedule than me. So I think my 12 o'clock is probably going to throw her a little bit. So we'll see. Okay, guys, that is the end of the comments. I'm going to go try to get some more work on this done because I think I got like 4 stitches done. I'm not good at crocheting and chatting at the same time. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know on my Facebook group or on here in the comments when you watch the replay. Let me know if there are other topics you'd like me to cover that we can chat about. If not, I definitely want to follow up on the craft show chat. That's maybe the next one. We may do a part 2 of the craft show chat. We talked about deciding whether or not craft shows were right for you. On the first one, the next one will be finding the right craft shows for you and the prep side. So if you're deciding how to decide on inventory and all of that. So we can do that since craft show season is coming up soon. So yeah, I think that's everything for now. Be sure to check out my last uploaded video if you're interested in trying out some chunky yarn samplers. I have sampler kits available in my shop. I am destashing some of my yarn, so you can check out some different styles of super bulky yarn and make yourself some scrappy projects. And until next time, I will see you guys on Friday on Instagram. And I did have a few more comments. I don't want to ignore anyone. Joni's Not So Fast Life enjoyed the discussion. I'm new to the crochet community and still getting my feet wet. Much love. Thanks for joining in, Joni. Kathy, thanks, Evelyn. Keep cool and hydrated. Yes, it's really hot outside. Another cloudy day. Thanks for the conversation. Amaris, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, Amaris. Ed, great topic. Loved it. Have a great day, everyone. Yes, thank you all so much. Join me on Instagram this Friday, or I will be back on YouTube next Tuesday, same time. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy hooking.